Hey everyone, this is Cheryl. Today I will be sharing with you my Nik The Booksmith Deserted Island Challenge journal. And I first want to say thanks, Nik. This was definitely a challenge. At first I watched your video and I thought there's no way, that can't be very much fun. I can't create a journal with very few items. But then I was like, well, let me give it a try, and I was pleasantly surprised. It was a lot of fun. It pushed me to create with hardly anything, so thanks. Let's start by showing the items that we were allowed. We got to pick our, which glue we wanted to use, and I used tacky glue. One of my selected items was a napkin that had trim on it and stuff, so I knew I was going to be gluing fabric and trim, and so I prefer tacky glue because I don't think I see the glue as much underneath, so that's why I chose that. I chose some wax string. Thought I was going to do a lot of hand stitching, as decorations on pages and such, but I decided I didn't have patience for that, so I just used it for the signatures. I chose a large needle because I thought I could poke holes with this, like an awl. And then I selected a large pair of scissors. I figured I could use this throughout the project. And then the paper that I selected was notebook paper, and the reason why is it looks really grungy. It has the faded, when it's stained, it has that faded red line, which I thought went well with the scrapbook paper that I chose. And then it had the holes, and I knew I wanted to hang things, tie things off of them, and so that's why I selected that paper. And then one of my selected items was ink. I can't live without ink. I have to make everything look gold. And the color I always use is potting soil. I know everybody has their own favorite, but this is mine, and my tattered applicator. And then I selected this Tim Holtz Scrapbook paper. And the reason being is it had all, the ephemera collaged on it. It had the map. I figured if I was stranded on a deserted island, I definitely would want a map. And then on the reverse side, it had all this, 4 sections of pretty paper. So I thought definitely could utilize this as detailing inside the journal. And then the other item I selected was this gray file folder. And I cut those off, and those are not part of the journal, but I figured it has the score lines. It would be easier for me to, make a spine with it and do it relatively quickly. And let's take a look at what I did. Oh, and the napkin. I'm going to put a picture of the napkin on so everybody can see. It was just like a 12 by 12 antique napkin that had lace, or, like crocheted lace trim on the sides that I was able to cut down, and it was pretty wide, so it actually made a lot of different details just by cutting it. The trim here, and then it made like this fringe, which was pretty cool once it was cut. But let's look at the cover a little bit more. This is just a collage that I made with the scrapbook paper, the fabric, and the trim. Used part of the napkin for the spine, and I've used some of it up here for some tabs. And I wrinkled up the notebook paper, or not the notebook, but the file folder, and then inked it to make it look grungy and old. I was going to cover it with the napkin, and then I was thinking, I don't want to do that. I ended up using the fabric inside. I sewed my signatures to it and kind of used Nik The Booksmith's hidden spine method inside, so the stitching is actually on the inside. This is for decorating purposes only, not to hide the stitches. Here I've made like a little pocket, some ripped paper, and then I layered some of the items from the scrapbook paper here. And then on each, I made 2 signatures, and on the front I did a little collaging with fabric and some of the scrapbook. And to do the covers, I just glued 2 of the notebook pieces of paper together and glued this in between to make the covers look a little different. Just folded up some of the notebook paper and tied it with some of the wax string. Made a little tuck spot in the corner with some of the file folder scraps. Here I've used some of the napkin scraps and tied these 2 pages together so you could like have a little hiding spot for some secret thoughts. Here I just made a little tag with some of the notebook paper, and because there was so much glue it kind of made it more rigid. Belly band, lots of blank pages when you don't have a lot of embellishing items. Here just some scraps. This is at the end when you have little pieces, and I just made a little book. I love how the notebook paper ages up. Here, a little envelope I made with notebook paper, a little tuck. I made a little journaling card with some of the notebook paper and scraps, a little tuck spot. I just love how notebook paper ages up. Little tabs at the top. This is the back side of that signature, and I just tied some of that napkin. It's so brittle. Like, I wanted to use these as ties, but it is so fragile that I just leave it, because I started tying it and it just seemed like it just wanted to tear apart, so I thought, oh, I'm just going to leave those hanging. And here another little collage, little tuck spot with some of the pieces from the scrapbook paper. A little belly band, created a little lament book. I think this would make a good like list journal, which I have lists all over my house. I probably should start utilizing, so it's all in one spot. Here, the map I left all intact because I figured if I was stranded, definitely would want the map to be all in one piece. Here is where I sewed in the signatures. Another one of those little hidden journaling spots. Another tag I made. A belly band again. And just some more folded, inked up notebook paper. Another little tab with scraps. And then I made another ripped paper pocket and just lined the edge with more of the file folder, which gives it a little more strength. And a little scrap from the scrapbook paper, a little journaling card. So that's it. It definitely was a challenge, Nick, but it was very fun. I ended up doing it, I think, all on, I think it was Saturday. I started and I just went with it. It was fun. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed it. And I will list that picture so you can see what the napkin looked like. But I was really surprised that that napkin, it looks like I used a bunch of different laces and trims. So, but I hope you have fun. Check it out. If you haven't started your challenge, go over there. It's definitely a fun challenge to try. So have a good day, everyone. Talk to you later. Bye.